Jeff and I did some reading this week, and based on that reading, we decided we're going to talk about 5 trucking regulations that we think people need to watch this year, that we all need to be paying attention to. And so that's what we're going to be talking about today. So hang tight. We're going to do the things that we do before we start every show, and we'll be right back.
Paying too much for trucking insurance? What if you could save more by making one simple phone call and keep more profit? You could very well do just that with one simple call to Seabright Agency, 800-366-6466. Call now.
Now here's a question that all owner-operators and small fleet owners should consider. What happens when you access the unrivaled advantages that are available through the ES Advantage program? We asked Jeff and Charlie from Contractors Corner to share their thoughts on how they've been able to utilize the discounts and services that are a part of the ES Advantage.
Your business will make you money if you do well at that business. And ES Advantage in trucking, they do really well at providing those services. So the effect that ES has had on our personal trucking operations, not even talking about what we do on the consulting arena, I've been able to save thousands of dollars a year in fuel because of the relationship with them. I have a new accountant that I work with, trucker CFO, that I learned about from ES Advantage.
They're giving you that 10,000 yard kind of support from behind that creates a way for you to succeed, which is one of the things that we love, because anything you can do to help someone succeed is going to help them succeed. They make money by making sure you make money.
Now, if you're an owner-operator or small fleet owner and you would like to learn more about how you can drive savings to the bottom line of your business, the ES Advantage program has the discounts and services that deliver the kind of unrivaled advantages that are designed to help you improve your overall operation. Get connected with the ES Advantage today.
I don't know where frickin' Charlie went. You're playing games or something.
What's up, man?
Today, frickin' everything was closed in Houston today.
Right? Dude, it just started drizzling here at the house. It might actually get cold enough before the sun comes back up to have snowflakes falling out of the sky as far down as my house.
Nice.
And I'm like 2.5 hours south of I-10. That's ridiculous. They say if it gets 1 degree colder here, that Miami could actually see snow falling in the sky. So I'm like, just Canada, oh Canada, please come get your damn weather. Good Lord.
Yeah, I was supposed to pick up this morning. I got a call from Panther late yesterday. Said, hey, so they decided that they're just going to shut down tomorrow because of the weather.
Right.
Do you want us to find you something else, or you just want to wait till Wednesday to pick up? And I said, well, watching the news in the area, the local news, pretty much everything is shut down tomorrow because of snow. So I don't know if it would do me any good. I might as well, one in the hand's better than two in the bush, right?
Right. Oh,
so I'll pick up tomorrow.
Chris is trying to start a thing here, apparently, because he's been pounding me with this all day. It's your fault. It's your fault, Charlie. Somehow this is your fault. He's like, just so everybody knows, somehow, some way, this crap snow in the South is Charlie's fault. He's stuck at exit rest area in Alabama and Mississippi line, not letting anyone leave. They just shut it down. I-10, I-65 down there in Mobile just closed it. They're just like, nope.
I'm on board with that. I say it's Charlie's fault. That's a good thing to say.
Oh, man. Come on. Whatever. You know what? Chris Hamilton was first today. Craig was, of course, second, because Craig said he's feeling under the weather today. I'm like, whatever, crybaby. And Dennis Lewis was third, which is just baffling because he doesn't even usually show up till about halfway through the show. But okay,
Right.
that's cool. So hi, Dennis. Hi, Chris, Craig. Good to see you guys. Jim Wall, I see you. Matt Nissen. My Corner USA. I'm guessing that's James Vaughn. Good to see you. Trucker Tim, good to see you. Donna, hi. There's more. I don't know.
Tim shed some light on it. Tim Ransom says, because you keep talking crap about Canada, so they came to you to have words.
Timothy Ransom, you're funny. Whatever, man. Bring it. Come on. Come down here.
You keep talking about how you don't drive Canada, which to you is anything above I-40, and so they heard about that, Charlie, and they set their weather down just to get to you.
Yeah. You know what? They're about to get a whooping because down here in Citrus County, we don't play that. Acceleration rule said minus 25 wherever he's at. Just saying.
So this was interesting. So as early as Saturday, and I've never seen this before. God bless Texas. So my dad's whole neighborhood, because I was with my folks last week, the landscapers that take care of their little neighborhood association, flowers and stuff, they were out there covering all the plants with those tarp thingies,
right,
on Saturday. And I'm just like, well, the plants will come back, right? You know, I
put my papaya trees in our little greenhouse today.
Did you?
Yeah, we lost one last week with that cold crap we had down here. And somehow the rest were absolutely fine. But I figured, I better stop pushing my luck. And so I have I think I have like 7 more that I don't want to lose, man. I got 7 good papaya trees starting, Look, the tallest one's only like, let me get about this tall. Right? And then the shortest one's about this tall. They're all start at the same time. And it's just a trip to watch them grow at different rates. But my 2 big ones are healthy as all get out. I mean, they got bigger than my thumb.
Yeah, my parents' main concern was their aloe vera plants, which they have potted. So we brought those in the house.
Yeah, see, I've got tons of aloe vera out there. They actually do well. They tend to hold heat really well, especially. And I mean, you've seen.
I know you have a bunch of aloe vera, Charlie.
Crap! Here we go. You know what? Somehow throw in the word Western Star while you talk about the aloe vera. Go ahead.
Did you see my video today? I actually mentioned you in my video as I was showing everybody the song. I'm like, yep, there's my Western Star. There you go, Charlie.
Nice. I love it. It's hilarious.
So I'm going to get Donna on you now. I'm going to tell her that you promised her, Donna, aloe vera plants. That's what I'm going to tell her, and then she's going to get on your case.
That's fair. That's fair. But going back to that, so I've got so many aloe vera plants that we've quit pulling the babies out of the big mother plants, and we just let them grow wild. So there's so many grouped in so close at this point that they kind of hold the heat in for themselves anyhow. It's a trip. Every now and then we'll lose some ends off of the bits, or maybe some of the, like, I have a couple of dwarfs that have never grown. I got one plant that's literally like this tall. And it's like 5-6 years old. It's never grown past that. I have other plants that, are just as old and have produced 4 generations of other plants already. It's crazy. It's weird. What's up, Sean?
7 hours waiting on a trailer tire replacement, huh?
Oh, that good stuff. Timothy said, 10 inches of snow in Louisiana. I-49 Baton Rouge. That is horrible. That world is just destroyed right now. It's Armageddon. They're like, oh my gosh. I just can't even imagine.
Yeah, I'm going up to Virginia with this load that I pick up tomorrow, so that'll be interesting. Going kitty corner across all this.
Right. Once you get out of Texas, it shouldn't be that bad because most of those places are kind of used to it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even Oklahoma kind of catches a bit here and there, so they kind of deal with it. But once you get out of there, you should be good.
Yeah.
It's just getting to that point without all the knuckleheads.
Right.
So yeah, I feel for you, bro. I look, we're going back out Thursday right now.
Well, like the low last night was like 22,
right,
and the high today was 40. So I mean, it should be pretty well. It came quick and it's going to leave quick.
So we've been in the 50s today. Like right up till about 4:30, it was still 50 degrees. So if it does snow here, nothing's holding to the ground.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It'll be pretty to watch. It'll be kind of neat, but even that probably wouldn't even start until like 1 a.m. I don't know that I'm up for watching that. I mean, it'd be neat to see here at the house, to see snow at this house, just for the novelty of it. But I think we're supposed to get, I think right now the forecasted low is like 34 here at the house. And we've been colder than that. There's just never been moisture in the air when it happened.
Right.
It's usually because we had that crystal clear sky and a cold front comes down and it just, that's how we get it, right? Because we've been in the 20s here before. That since I've been here, we've been in, mid 20s even. And, but never the possibility of snow with it. Because there's never been the moisture. It's just weird, man.
Well, the interesting thing to me was, so I was still awake when it started snowing, and it was more like the ice crystal type snow, the really fine powder.
Right.
So I'm used to, like in Utah, we get the big flakes that are the size of a tablespoon.
Right.
A lot of times,
Yeah, that threw me off in Birmingham with the first one. Was when we started seeing, the big quarter 50-cent piece flakes falling. We're like, yeah, the world broke. It's just something happened. It's not the little ice pellets. Jim Wall, I'm in Columbus rethinking my life.
Yep.
I feel you, man. I feel you. And you know what? Look, Dennis, 50 is cold. Don't start your nonsense with me. I don't care. There's a reason I moved to Florida. You dig? I left the Northwest because it was cold there, and I don't like it. I don't want anything to do with it. And let's be real, once you're acclimated to Central and South Florida, 50 degrees is like, I don't know, 20 degrees in Utah to us. And
we talked about that. It's weird because of the amount of humidity that's just in the air there.
Right.
Everything feels colder. And then when the heat is up, well, what did we figure? It was like 65 or 70. Yeah. That weird transition to where it's colder, it feels colder than it is, and then it feels hotter than it is.
Right.
Because of the humidity. It's weird. Yeah, my sister lives in Katy, Texas, and she was posting pictures making somen this morning. So
oh yeah, Matt, I fixed my video. I finally got everything working again. So yeah. It's look. I'm fluid. I'm moving. I'm not like that anymore. That's cool. Makes me happy.
Yeah, he had to reinstall Windows.
Yeah, of all things. I didn't have to kill the whole computer. I reinstalled over, kind of repaired type of thing. But I couldn't find any errors. There was no conflicts. There was no hardware problems. It was apparently something in Windows got wonky somehow, some way, and it just decided to quit and torture me for 2 weeks. My only other recourse was a complete wipe of the computer, which would have broke my heart because there's way too much data in this thing that I don't have a good backup of.
Whose fault is that? Yeah, okay.
Hey, look, if I'm to blame for the weather, you're to blame for my data problems.
Okay.
There you go. So anyhow, you guys, Jeff pointed out this article to me, in Trucking Drive. Truckingdrive.com news would be the place to go check this out. I should put a link in the description. I'll try and do that sometime during the show or after. But it's kind of an interesting article. They're talking about 5 trucking regulations to watch in 25 this year. And they're kind of 5 significant things. Some of us will be a little more worried about it than others. And let's see. Well, let's just go through the list. Jeff, what do you say?
Okay.
Their first one was speed limiters are dead. That's the title of that section. Apparently the ATA and owner operator, OIDA. Hi. My bad. They're actually split on this one.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Which is the normal for OIDA and ATA. They don't get together on a lot of issues. Let's just be real.
Yeah.
At least not that I've seen. But they're split. ATA, of course, wants the limiters because unions.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say it.
Well, they represent mostly big companies like Swift.
Right. So speed limiters. With Trump coming in, he's not a huge proponent of overregulation. I mean, let's just be real. He's trying to limit regulation and make it easier for businesses to actually function, right? Is my video backwards? I feel like it's mirrored. Or does it look right to you?
Looks right to me.
Okay. It's mirrored. It's backwards on my screen. That's weird. I don't know why. Something changed again. Go figure. Getting back on track. Trump regulations, go.
Yeah, he's pretty anti-regulation. So some of the stuff that was being worked on by Buttigieg and his people are just going to go away. So we have our opinion on speed limiters. We drive 60, Charlie,
Right.
pretty much everywhere we go. I don't need anybody to tell me to do that.
Right.
I don't want government telling people how fast they can drive their trucks any more than I want the government telling people how much money they can make.
Right.
We all do what we need to do for our operation. So that's I'm happy with it. I don't know that we can put that debate to bed completely because this is a political thing, Charlie. This is
Right.
We don't delve into that much, but this is one of those times where you pay enough attention to politics to see how it's going to affect your business.
Yeah.
With the new administration, I think you're going to find a little bit more business friendly policies. Just because, let's be real, that's what Trump is. He's a business guy. Love him or
Right.
hate him, that's what he is. And so he's very pro business. And anything that he perceives, whether real or not, to be a hindrance to business is on the chopping block. But in 4 more years, who knows who's going to be in office, and we could be talking about it again.
Right.
And that's just the way politics works, guys. So the point of paying attention is, if you see something that's going to affect your business, rather than getting upset about it because you can't do anything about it, really. You cast your vote so you can sleep at night. You made your opinion known. But when you see stuff like this, what's your plan? How are you going to deal with that to stay in business?
Right.
Don't let these changes in administrations put you out of business. Just figure out a way to work with it, because in 4 years it's going to change again. That's just the nature of the beast, right?
Right. FMCSA actually postponed this rule last year, right?
Mhm.
I think that they were waiting to see what the political environment was going to be, right?
Absolutely.
And maybe there was something there, someone trying to keep a job in a director's position. I don't know. Things are changing. Let's just be real. New appointments are being made and all that stuff. So yeah, I think that there's a lot of the politics that are involved in these regulations that we're worrying about, and that because of the way the elections went, Again, good or bad to you, don't care. Just it is what it is. But this one kind of makes me feel good. The next one on the list, the California ACF, what's it called? Wait, Advanced Clean Fleets Rule.
Yep.
Right.
So this one's actually interesting, Charlie.
Right.
Because I think, like most people, until I looked into it because of this article, I just figured California does what it wanted to, no matter what. Right. Apparently, that particular CARB regulation, California Air Resources Board is what that stands for, was not legal. They asked for a waiver from the EPA and FMCSA to make that a thing. Well, it turns out that was above their pay grade, so to speak. Right. And again, with the new administration coming in, they just gave up, said, okay, well, fine. We're not going to even ask for our waiver anymore because we hate Trump and Trump hates us. So he's just not going to do it because of that.
Right.
Which they're probably correct.
Yeah. So, and I'll say it, I'm actually in favor of this not happening.
Now, I'll say this too, though. That does not mean that the federal EPA regulations for 27 aren't going to be a thing. You know, we're still concerned about the 27 trucks and the new benchmark.
Let's combine those
federal level,
because that's the next one in the list. So let's just bring those two together. So the EPA, let's see, they're saying scrapping the EPA's phase 3 greenhouse rule would require research to justify doing so, which won't happen on day one of the new administration. But ATA and the Truckload Carrier Association expect emission deadlines to be delayed to allow the industry, equipment, and infrastructure to reach environmental goals. So maybe we're not looking at 27 deadlines now.
Yeah, but I think it's still a thing though, because the engineering has already been done, and they should be starting to put those trucks on the line pretty soon. See what I mean?
Yeah, but I think that the OEMs could pull back on it and be able to do more research, because they still have the whole 26 production year to run. So
yeah, I suppose. Yeah, they might not. They might delay their retooling. Is what you're saying?
Yeah, because the 26 model coming up is supposed to be that new Cascadia without the 27 emissions.
Okay.
Right. So I think there's a valid discussion with the way that the current our new administration. Yeah, it's our current now. Right. Yesterday, dummy. Anyhow, with the current administration and the way that Trump's people tend to, bite the EPA a little bit more, drill baby drill. I'm just saying, I think that, but even the OEMs are like, this is a serious burden you're putting on us. We have barely sorted out some of the issues on the past standards. Before this last batch of standards, they still don't know what the hell to do with the trucks before, because those ones are still out there in the junk heaps. They just gave up on them. They've done better recently with the last set of updates, right? The last rules, because they finally had a little time to just focus on those and the problems that those created.
Well, it took almost a decade for them to figure out how to maintain the system.
Right.
And let's be real, the OEMs gave up on it. Because if you ask a Freightliner or a Kenworth shop, they'll tell you, yeah, at 350,000 miles, you just need to replace that DPF filter.
Right.
Because they gave up on it.
They're quick to do it. And especially if they can get you to pay for it. I got mine in right at the 300,000 mile mark, and warranty covered it.
Yeah.
So look, that was $3,600 just for the DPF. That wasn't the one box, the whole system. It was just the DPF filter itself, right? The ceramic they said was cracked. I still never saw pictures of it, but whatever. I'm not bitter or anything really. Good
Well,
Lord.
the thing is, if you would have taken it to alternatives like you were planning, they would have inspected it and told you,
Right.
and given you pictures if that was the case.
Right. Well, according to my carrier's shop, BP, he said that they've got pictures of it. I said, great. Can you have someone send it to me? Absolutely. A month later, hey, I still haven't got any pictures. Oh, really? They haven't sent it to you? Hey, maybe I'll get on them again. And look, man, I was happy that I actually got an invoice when I picked my truck up last week from service. First time at our Ocala shop here. Just saying. So little improvements, I guess, baby steps. I don't know, whatever. But yeah, so rolling that EPA stuff, some of this EPA stuff, it looks like people in smart places are thinking that the EPA stuff might be rolled back some, at least postponed. And the California stuff, I mean, they're just saying this like dead,
Well, for now.
Yeah, because California completely withdrew their waiver request, right? They didn't even fight.
Here's the crazy thing about California is that their timeline and their benchmarks, they can't even possibly make those benchmarks.
Right.
Because one of the things they want is zero emission trucks on the road, right? Well, you remember Swift asked the municipality there in Arupa Valley, they were going to replace all their day cabs with electric.
Right.
And the municipality came back with, you're out of your mind. We don't have that much electricity.
Right.
For 40 trucks. What?
Right.
And they want everybody to do that in the next 10 years? I think they're insane. Now, talking to Adam, you remember he was really excited more than the electric was the hydrogen electric hybrids is what he was excited about.
Right.
So I don't know much about that technology, Charlie, but boy, Adam was really thinking that's where we need to go.
Right. Yes, Ida, he did. The price was completely wrong, but at least he gave me paper and I saw what work was performed. He's like, oh, this is higher than what it's going to be when it comes out. Yeah, no, not true. It was actually $300 more than the original invoice that still had things on it that they were taking off. So whatever. I haven't gone back. I just got the real bill today, showed up on, the settlement stuff. And so I'm going to print that out probably tonight and then compare the two. I'm willing to bet that the difference in price was that the invoice they gave me in person had the Swift prices on it for their company stuff.
Right. They've done that before, right?
Up again. Right. Because it was like $360.
Hey, we will get that squared away eventually.
Right.
They are making progress, Charlie, and it's absolutely because we keep complaining about
it. Yeah. And quite a few of my carrier shops are actually doing this actively. And here, this is what blew my mind.
West Valley
asked if I wanted one.
West Valley is probably the best shop that I experienced as far as that went.
Yeah.
Not only that, but they would email me an estimate before they turned a wrench and ask, is this okay? And I would be like, well, I don't really have a choice because the truck's going to blow up if you don't do that stuff. So,
Right.
It always tracks me up at dealerships the same way. So this is the estimate. Are you okay with that? Well, the truck won't turn over. So I guess so.
Yeah. I mean, can you cut me a break? They're like, not really. Well, okay, then it's fine. Look.
Well, I will say though that Juice over there in the owner operator division, he went to bat for me a few times and got bills reduced.
Right.
And my experience with that, because everybody complains about that 10% or $500 of the bill that goes to IEL for setting up service. I have saved much more than that over the years because Juice is really good about saying, hey, you're getting ripped off here.
Right.
So I don't know. That's something, right?
I'm going to come back to your question, Sean. I'm going to save it and we will definitely get back to that. Right, Ida. We should definitely frame it like, it's wrong, but whatever. But yeah, so I think this is good movement for all of us on the EPA emissions and the California thing. Like you said, they wanted 0 emissions by 2036. Good luck, man. Like Jeff was saying, Drew Valley's like, bro, we can't even supply that much electricity, anywhere, let alone just for your direct spot for your 40 trucks or whatever the hell it was.
Well, here's what's interesting though. So he didn't get in on it on the internship, but Mike was looking at an internship out at what they call the site in Idaho, where they do a lot of the nuclear reactor testing.
Right.
And their current project is these mini reactors. So like literally they could stick a reactor on Swift property and that would power like however many megawatt hours they need.
Right.
For that whole neighborhood.
Right.
And from what he was saying, that like the concerns that people have about nuclear power, these are different types of generators that next to no leak, they're not dangerous.
Right.
It's one of those things to where your common person like you and I are like, oh, nuke, right? Radiation. It's just really not a thing. Not if something's well maintained. That's the key. It's got to be well maintained, and probably a good idea not to put it on a seashore that might have tsunamis. I'm just saying,
right?
Or on the San Andreas fault line, or things like that. But yeah, so they reactors need water, and okay, plenty of water, but there are solutions. My biggest problem with the state of California is they want to have these pie in the sky, perfect world scenario type utopian stuff.
Right.
They don't think about, number one, what it's going to cost to do that, or even if they can accomplish those things with current technology. You look at the even like, I think the best one is the Tesla truck. You're looking at a range of about 300, 350 miles before you got to do at least a quick charge on them, right? That's half a day's worth of driving for most of us.
That's just a funny statement. I can't help it.
So
and Swift do not go together. I'm scared.
Yeah.
I'll catch it for that one later, but it's funny.
But yeah, they don't look at how they're going to get there. They just tell industry that they have to get there. And then they leave it up to the engineers to pull their hair out and jump out of tall buildings when they can't meet the deadlines. It's kind of crazy.
Right. So the next item in our 5 is titled Independent Contractor Organized Labor Laws in the Spotlight. So this is kind of a weird one, a touchy, tricky one, I suppose. They're saying that, the trucking industry has expressed support for Trump's Department of Transportation EPA nominees, but not real happy with Lori Chavez DeRemer, former representative. And the reason being is she was a supporter of the PRO Act. Right. And that's the protecting the right to organize from the Teamsters that was kind of brought up and championed for a while. And I mean, even Trump for a while there was on the bandwagon with it. Let's be real. I mean, it came up under him. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't kill it when he had the chance then. But I think that the light bulb has gone on and I don't think he's going to get behind this PRO Act. I think he's going to kill it anyhow, especially since Biden was so for it. Let's just be real. Just that fact alone could mean that it's dead for now. And yeah, it's just a bad piece of legislation that they were trying to put in to start with. And it wasn't just for trucking, right?
Right.
It
would have affected anyone that's 1099.
Yeah. You know, if you were, if someone needed extra help in their industry focus, whether it's trucking or plumbing, like a plumber couldn't farm out a piece of his job to another plumber without making him an employee.
Right.
Right. Because it's like-minded or like-kind work was the problem. Right. And so because of that, I mean, you're just like, good lot. It's just, there's so many problems. And it really would have put the hurt on a lot of, every small business, really. I mean, because you couldn't collaborate with another business that is in your industry, really. Right. I mean, we see it in other parts of other industries where they're like, hey, man, our brewery's getting together with this brewery and we're putting on a thing, right? We're working together to, develop this. Well, it just becomes a whole donkey show because they just can't do it. So I don't know, man. I really got to turn my phone down.
Me and Josh are texting back and forth during the show. Sorry about
Oh,
that.
nice.
Well, we let's wrap this up, and then we got an event to talk about.
Yeah. But yeah, so hopefully this PRO Act is dead, at least for the next 4 years. We won't have to worry about it. I mean, some of those states that are still out there, some of that stuff's being fought still, although Illinois is kind of solid now, right?
Yeah.
Autonomous trucks. I know everybody likes talking about autonomous trucks because that's a fun one. The autonomous trucking rules could set course for trucking's future. Of course, with Elon in play there, and having the president's ear and being in the position that he is, it could be interesting to see how this develops. Honestly, it can still go either way. Let's be real. The autonomy in trucking, autonomy in individual vehicles is still not as far along as everybody wants you to believe it is.
Yeah.
And then you add in trucks and inclement weather or okay, wait. So typically, why not run a truck across I-10 from Cali to Florida, right? Until a day like today.
Right. Yeah, that's been a problem. Like they've got it dialed in for nice dry roads. But the second there's any type of puddles or snow, especially, that AI has a real hard time dealing with that.
Right. Yeah, when things get out of norm, they're like, whoa. I mean,
if they can crack that, when they crack that, it's not if, it's when. When they crack that, that's when I'll worry about my job.
Right.
Because that's still a thing.
I mean, we should be paying attention. We should absolutely know, at least in the peripheral, hey, okay, there's something neat going on over there. Let me read that article, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just know that. I mean, I can't see it happening in 4 years.
No. I tell you what, though, I'm going to give my same advice I've been giving for years, a couple of years now, to you guys that aren't quite 35 yet. I'm going to say learn how to code.
Right.
Learn about cybersecurity. Because when the time comes that the driver becomes obsolete, you know what they are going to need, Charlie? Cybersecurity experts.
Right.
Why? Because you don't want some dude from Iran hijacking a truck remotely over satellite and running it into a bank. So cybersecurity, that's going to be a big, big industry, I think, as the autonomous stuff.
She says, I say we make him like video game when we sit home and drive him.
So Ida, interestingly enough, I read an article that actually talked about that as being one of the steps.
I dig it. God, can you imagine?
Mm-hmm.
I can't be the only one that's sitting here grinning about just the thought of that. I just refuse to believe I'm the only one that's like that tickles so much, because I would absolutely volunteer. Yes, please.
Hey, you know that semi simulator that everybody plays and is so
Right?
proud that they ran a coast to coast run?
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe it's like The Last Starfighter. Maybe that's the tryouts.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
If you score high enough, you get a job offer.
They've already got a whole fleet of people ready to go that's on their radar, you know. They're like, these guys have proven themselves. Little did they know they were actually running that truck through Florida, you know.
Yeah.
But you know,
Wimpy. I got it. Oh,
Go ahead.
Wimpy. This would be a good argument to have, dude. Terrorists never target the banking system. I'm just going to say 2 words: Twin Towers. Twin Towers were the banking system.
Right.
Just saying.
Oh, good times, man.
But that'd be an interesting thing to talk about, really.
Right?
Not a topic that we do on our show, but boy, you could go in the weeds on that one, couldn't you?
Yeah.
That's a good one.
So, I was gonna say, you know, there was a autonomous truck running the I-75 corridor in Florida. It was, and this was a while back. It lost signal, right? And it was traveling in the center lane. Most of 75 is 3 lanes running down from, you know, the north end to the south end. And it was traveling in the center lane, lost signal, hit the brakes, stopped dead, just sat there.
Mm-hmm.
Just no warning.
Like it's supposed to, but
right,
yeah.
right. And just sat there, and like the world was like, what the hell? What do we do? You know, and there's just this truck with nobody in it sitting in the center lane, and it would not go anywhere.
I had one of those test crews that parked next to me at a rest area one time. I talked to him for about 10 minutes. And so they came in and parked, and I'm like, well, that's interesting. I'm going to go talk to those guys. Every time they stop the truck, so there's a driver and a software engineer in that truck. Every time they stopped, the software engineer basically never got a break because he had work to do every time they stopped the truck. But what they were doing was the driver was actually teaching the AI how to drive. That was what they were out there doing. So the AI was the machine learning, right? Was learning from the driver how the driver reacts to certain situations, and recording that in its little matrix or whatever. So yeah,
it's cool stuff, but I just don't think we have to worry about it. I mean, absolutely pay attention. One, just it's neat.
Again, you know, talking to Adam, you know, when that came up when we were at Dawes. We didn't do an interview this time, but we did sit down with him and talk for a bit.
Right.
And again, you know, Swift, the largest truckload carrier in the nation, they spent $50 million in the research and development for autonomous trucks, and at this point has completely divested themselves of that project.
Right.
Because what he said is it just didn't work. Now, what he is interested in is things like the Bendix system, the stuff the safety stuff, you know, the radar. The new trucks, Charlie, all have the side-facing radar as well.
Right. Yeah.
Any of that stuff that aids the driver in being safer, he's interested in that, but not complete autonomy at this point. And he said maybe they'll look at it again in a decade.
Right. Sorry, I'm looking at Don's Hamy's question. Let me come back to that, Don.
The grill for the truck. Okay.
Yeah, he's talking about a big grill guard.
Oh, like deer catcher?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I responded to him in Messenger. We can actually touch on it real quick. It really depends on the brand and style of grill guard, right? Because some of them are, you know, somewhat negligible on fuel mileage. but they also offer far less protection. You got to factor in the weight of the equipment, the design, how much wind is it catching, because they can affect fuel mileage up to about a half mile per gallon.
That's the big one, is if it's messing up your aerodynamics too much. That's the big one.
Right. X-Guard grill. Let me look something up. Let me see what it looks like.
So we saw on some straight trucks a couple of years ago an interesting design that it was actually built into the body. Those were interesting designs, Charlie.
Right. So let's see, X-Guard. I could throw this up on the screen, and we could talk about it. I think it's definitely going to affect some of the aerodynamics of it, just based on the design of it. Let me find my button here. We'll dip into this real quick. Share screen.
Well, and the take I've always taken, Don, is that I've had 2 deer strikes in 20 years, and neither one of them were on the front of the truck.
Right.
So, yeah.
So that's the X-Guard. That's the Volvo, of course. I'm sure it's going to be something similar for the Freightliner in overall design. Let's see if I can find it. Let's see if they got a picture of it by truck. Truck guards, Freightliner. Oh, there we go. Oh, he's got a Western Star. Excuse me. My bad, man. My bad here. Let me get the right freaking picture out. Good Lord.
So here's the thing with the Western Star is, because of the way the grill is already, I'm absolutely catching more wind than in a Cascadia as
Right.
it is, to the tune of about a half a mile per gallon. Because I've got a 22 Western Star right now, so I can compare directly between that and the 22 Cascadia, right? And it's
Right.
about a half a mile per gallon difference. Same exact drivetrain, same specs and everything. So the body style is already catching more wind than in a Cascadia.
So looking at this though, right? Because of the body style that's already there, right? Most of this lines up along the current body lines. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's going to be some added resistance just because, you're adding, what is it? It looks like 1.5 or 2-inch tube steel, right? So it creates a little bit of a buffet. I'm torn on this one, Jeff, right now, simply because, I don't have any numbers to back it, testing to back it to see what the aerodynamic change is, but I would think that the aerodynamic change wouldn't be that drastic on that model. You're going to have some fuel mileage drop. The question is, are you prepared to accept that? Right.
Right. And in a year, you've got a $1,500 deductible on your insurance, right? But you've also got to count downtime. So you'd have to do that number.
Absolutely.
And again, in my experience in 20 years, 2 deer strikes, both of them were side strikes, by the way.
Yeah.
One of them, literally, the deer went across the road, turned around, and ducked its head and hit the side of my truck.
Good Lord.
It's the freaking weirdest thing. So a deer guard wouldn't have helped me in either of those situations. And yet I talk to people that have a deer strike every other freaking month.
Right.
So I don't know. So, if you got a half a mile per gallon dent in fuel mileage, just the quick napkin math is that's $5,000 a year in fuel. So if you have 2 deer strikes in that 8 years, it's probably not worth it. You spent more on fuel than the deer guard saved you.
Let's try a quarter
So
mile
it's
per gallon. So 2,500, right? Um, yeah, I don't know. I honestly, I don't know. I don't know how to advise you on this. Because now it's got me thinking, just because of the
so
design.
so here's my purest take, Charlie.
Yeah,
It will cost you fuel mileage.
absolutely.
Therefore, I would not put a deer guard on my truck. But just like with you guys that love your Kenworths and your long nose Pete's and all that stuff, it's completely up to you. You know, if you think that it's worthwhile to have, it's your business, right? I'm not gonna make fun of you for putting a deer guard on, but I would not put a deer guard on my truck. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So I mean, okay, let's break it down further. Let's just say it's 1/10 of a mile per gallon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Over 7-8 years, that's still $7,000-8,000
Yeah.
in fuel mileage loss. And I'm gonna hate that I said that here. Let me knock on some wood. I haven't hit a deer the entire time I've been trucking. I had one run into a trailer once. He ran into tandem tires. It was weird.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even stop. I stopped just long enough to see a chunk of deer meat hanging on the mud flap and nothing was wrong. And I drove on. It sucked, but whatever. That was it. And that was, God, 10 years ago at least, probably.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so you're looking at the cost of the grill. I don't know. Don, can you tell us what it costs for it? Because I don't know that it's going to show me a price if I do it. Maybe it will. But I'm sure you actually know what it costs to purchase the product. I think you just got to look at the numbers. I mean, look, there's a legitimate thing about a deer strike can equal a total loss on a truck because of the fairings and the hood and whatever, right? Even without running off the road. I believe we saw one of those this year or last year. Or we were talking to Tony, and I think he's actually said he had one. I don't think it was one of ours. It was one of the other trucks he has insured. And it, like a deer strike caused a total because of the cost of the damage to the truck to replace all the plastic parts and the underlying support systems and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, man, I really think you just need to sit down and run the numbers and then flip a coin whether or not it's worth it to you.
Right.
I don't think
And
I'm on you for getting one here. I don't think it's going to be above a quarter mile, but I could be wrong.
and Don, how about somebody hitting the truck with the deer guard like I'm parked at a truck stop? I've never had that happen either. I know you hear about it all the time, but
Yeah, it never seems to be the very front of the truck. It seems to be midway down the sleeper,
yeah,
or the fender mirror. So behind
yeah.
the bumper.
You look at where damage is on trucks. It's usually mid sleeper, or they take a mirror off, and that's about it.
Right. So, again, I don't know, man. How much miles per gallon did you take a loss on with the bungee cords, Jeff? That's
It's
fun,
at least a mile per gallon, but it's worth it, bro.
right? That's prestige custom work right there. So yeah, I don't know, man. I wish we had a solid number. I'm sure somewhere out there is some research that specifically states the aerodynamics of some of these products. I'm not gonna lie, I don't have the time to dig down that deep into something like this. Not currently.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I've never, I mean, sure, I've wanted to put on a big old bull catcher on before just because, oh, look how cool that is, right? And yet I've never would have had the need for it in my trucking career to date.
Yeah.
It really would have been just throwing money out the window for me. Wimpy. You guys obviously don't watch Bonehead Truckers. We do, but let's be real. You know, you're in stuff like that. You're not seeing the majority. You're seeing the we'll call it the vocal or the calamitous minority.
Yeah.
Right. That's
Yeah.
not
So
the norm.
again, 20 years on the road, and I've never had anybody hit the front of my truck backing in someplace.
Right. I did have a tanker on I-75 south of Atlanta, a big rolling bomb, roll backwards on Rosie while we were in stop dead traffic.
Oh, that's special.
Dented the bumper. Just it looked like someone pressed it with their finger in, of course, the middle part and the center part of my bumper on Chewy. You know, the one metal part on the Sentry bumper. And that was it. That was it though. And it wasn't even worth causing a fuss over. I'm like, well, first the dude got out and asked Rosie why she hit him. He's like, hey, everything okay? Rosie's like, I don't know, buddy. How are you? And all he saw was her. I was just sitting in the sleeper, like just dumbfounded by this, right? And we couldn't roll out of it. And we're just there. It was a big fire. It was closed. We could not move, you know, and we're, you know, he's probably 5 truck lengths back from this horrific accident that was a fireball on the shoulder. And I'm just seeing this rolling bomb rolling backwards at us and not stopping. Luckily, other people saw it happen. Another truck driver jumped out of his truck as I'm coming out of the sleeper to give this guy some words. The other trucker jumps out of his truck. He's like, man, what the hell's wrong with you, bro? Why are you rolling backwards like that? You know, especially with a bomb and all that kind of nonsense. And it was funny. And then the guy changed tune. Oh, my bad. And I'm like, you know what? You should just get back in your truck and we'll just pretend like nothing ever happened, bro. Because I mean, and it was on video. I mean, come on. And we had witnesses. Yeah. But other than that, again, I don't know. I just got something here. Quest put one on every truck in their fleet. They said their figures worked out, but they based it on the majority of their drivers running out west. They also had multiple drivers hit elk, though. Yeah,
but again, my first 18 years, I ran out of Oregon, up and down I-5, across the 90, 94. Never hit anything.
Yeah. So I don't know. I can't give you an opinion one way or the other on this. I mean, look, anybody else who's watching, by all means, I mean, throw your opinions out there and give Don some ideas and, you know, maybe that'll help him make a decision. I don't think it's worth it personally. Now watch me go out Thursday night and smash a deer. Right. And maybe I'll change my tune on Thursday night. We'll see.
But let's be real, Charlie. Your deer are not like my deer.
Oh, good Lord. The deer out here, they're like, you know, big rats. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
They're tiny. But whatever.
I could feed my family for 6 months on a deer out west, and you've got maybe a week.
Dude, we've had deer at my buddy's next door that only got through our crowd, and that was it that night on the barbecue.
Yeah.
But you know, we're kind of ravenous, so whatever. Yeah, you know, Wimpy, you're probably not wrong, man. Just because I said it. But look, I've said it before. I don't know. He said I definitely see a deer strike in your future. Thanks, man.
Hey, you know what? I've actually got real wood in my truck, so
there you go. There you go.
In my Western Star.
You bastard. Right. And Chris, I mean, says also those guards don't protect everything. It is probably going to go through it and crack your hood or throw it underneath. I mean,
yeah.
I just don't know, man. I don't think right now that I would do it. I wouldn't knock you for it personally. But I definitely, if you get one, I want to know what your numbers do.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely want to see the data. Because maybe there's not that much of a hit, you know. I don't know. I mean, they've been working on these things for a long time, and one of the big gripes was the fuel mileage hit. So I know some of these companies were really working on trying to figure out a way to make it protective and not hit the fuel mileage so bad.
Right.
Yeah. So I don't know. There needs to be some research done to really get a good opinion, man. I think, unfortunately, sorry, brother. Let's go back to Sean Fairman. Swift related question. Is it better to do, he's talking about an MRP truck if you plan on being a trainer? I'm going to say, I don't think it's better to do an MRP truck ever.
Yeah, if you run the numbers on MRP versus traditional lease, they cost exactly the same by the time you buy the truck.
Yeah. And now there's like some new rules with the MRP. I've been hearing from certain people. I haven't seen a recent contract, so I can't verify that. Going by the last contract that I saw, the numbers did kind of equal out overall. When you looked at the MRP maintenance repair program cost, because, you know, they hit you a mileage-based system depending on how many miles are on the truck. And every mile the truck turns, they're charging you ching, 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 ching. And that comes straight out of your settlement into that. Yes, they have a lower weekly payment, but when you added in that MRP, they kind of average out to what you're paying on a new truck. So
right.
You are getting a smaller balloon payment at the end. However, you're also starting with a used truck, so the balloon payment should have been much lower because it was already paid down quite a bit. When you look at the amount that you're paying in with the truck payment and the MRP payment, yes, you have a smaller balloon payment, but you have almost an equal total cost of the truck. That's what we found. Now, if there's a change to the contract that I'm unaware of, I can't talk to that because I haven't seen it yet. I would love to get a hold of brand new.
There's been a few people talk about that in the private group we have set up for the Swifties, but I haven't had a single one of them show me a contract.
Right.
So I don't know. Without seeing the contract, I just don't know what the new rules might be.
I mean, one of the latest things I read was, you know, they're not doing the MRP past 500,000. So if you start one at 350 and after you get to 500,000, they're no longer doing the MRP on it. It disappears. You lose the maintenance reserve program,
which makes no sense to me.
Right.
Whatever.
So, but again, I haven't seen the contract and no one's put one up, so can't speak to it real direct on this one. If you've got one of those contracts and are willing to share, please send it over. You know, you can send it to my email address. I'll put that up in the chat. If you've got one, you're willing to send it, you know, I won't share it out. It's never going to see the light of day. So you don't have to worry about any information or black out your information, whatever. I don't care. Let me pull up that email address. I really need to save that thing. That would be a good idea. That would be a fantastic idea. Let's see. There it is. Let me copy this. Come on. Cooperate. If you got a contract you want us to look at, feel free to email it to that email address. And let me know. You can, by all means, send it there. I'm actually trying to acquire multiple contracts from multiple carriers so that we can understand each carrier a little bit better and be able to advise people better for different carriers. I've now seen the Hirschbach contract. Not a fan of it. I need to do some deeper diving into it. I still have some questions. I had a settlement sent to me as well, so I could see that, which was awesome. I have some questions that I got to ask that dude about the settlement itself to understand a little bit more, and we'll see. I mean, at face value, I like my contract better than the Hirschbach contract.
Yep.
Their 99-cent fuel guarantee is, I pay less than that with my fuel surcharge program. And their fuel surcharge program, I ran comparable. I ran my numbers with their contract, right?
Mhm.
And it cost me $400 more in fuel, even running their fuel surcharge program. I
Right.
had a net cost of fuel of like $26 for the week. Under theirs, it was like $460.
Mhm.
So I mean, and you look at that as a typical week, in that I think it was like 2,200 miles for the week. I mean, that's significant over the course of the year.
Did you run that against the 99-cent thing?
No, I never actually compared the 99-cent thing, and because I already knew, I knew, right, it was going to blow. I was completely blown it out of the water. I need to compare their fuel surcharge and the 99-cent deal. I think the fuel surcharge might actually be a better deal than the 99-cent deal. Their 99-cent guarantee also requires you to follow their fuel route. You can't go out a route more than so much. You can't idle more than 7 gallons worth of fuel, 7 or 8 gallons worth of fuel. Because if you do, then they bill you for the entire cost of the fuel at full pump price.
Yeah, I don't know. That seems shady to me.
Yeah,
I don't like that. I mean, you have a program. FedEx used to do the $1.20 a gallon guarantee. That's just
Right.
what you paid for fuel at FedEx.
right.
But they didn't put those restrictions on it. It was just that's what you paid.
Yeah, they did. I definitely never heard about it. Wimpy, I was not a fan of the contract, and this was an updated contract, so it's got all the new stuff in it.
Yeah, and what got us looking at that was those other YouTubers that you know about, Wimpy,
Right.
that decided not to do Hirschbach anymore because they were moving to a surcharge, and we were like, well, but did you do the math? Which of course they didn't, because we know those guys, right?
And the funny thing was, they still had the 99-cent guarantee that they were so fond of.
Yeah, it was a choice. So
yeah. So I don't know, man. We look, those guys are bad shit. Sorry, I can't help it. Yeah, Sean, I agree, and I mean, look, that might be a great question to ask Michelle Cantrell.
yeah,
Right,
I was
and
gonna
it's
say
simply
that.
because I don't know. I mean, I haven't heard, other than people talking about it, I haven't seen any proof of that, and quite frankly, I have not asked about new contracts over here because I'm waiting to see what our new contract is on the OTR dry van load board type people.
hmm
That's something I'm waiting for, and I'm not, and then I'll try and gather all the contracts up that are available on this carrier, and I'm going to keep trying to build some out there at other carriers. I'm fascinated by other carriers, and I'd love to find some that are great. I'm sure that there are a lot that are really bad. Let's just be real. I mean, it's a thing. So yeah. But anyone who's willing to share, please do so, because and like I said, I'll keep it on the down low. I'm not gonna, put it up on the glass, as they say. It's really just to help me be able to help other folks make better informed decisions. To help Jeff and I, rather. I will share it with Jeff, so know that ahead of time.
Yeah.
Jeff and I share that kind of info back and forth and make sure that we're both talking about the same things. Even with differing opinions, at least we know what we're starting with. So yeah, by all means, do that. Yeah, Don, I wish I had a better answer for you on the grill, man. I just don't, man. Mark, what's Mark got going on here? Do we know for a fact that the 2026 Freightliner has tire inflation monitor system and the Halo system on the drives? So I actually had this conversation with Craig and Matt the other day, and here's where I actually backtracked a little bit, because what I was told while we were out at DAW Driver Appreciation Week at Swift in September, there were specific words used, And what Brett told me was and Ken also said, the next batch of trucks that they receive would have the Halo and the TPMS built in. That's not to say that the 26 Freightliners, because that order is not being made until February for the next batch of 26 trucks, I believe. I believe the 26 trucks are being ordered in February. I don't know if this next batch is model year 25 or 26 that are supposed to be coming in January, February. Let's be real, it's not going to be January. It could be. Who knows? Maybe it showed up today. So I'm backtracking on that a little bit. I think maybe you send Brett Stewart or Ken McBee an email. That would be Kenneth McBee at SwiftTrans, or Brett_Stewart at SwiftTrans.com, and ask the question there, or give them, either one of them, a call and ask there. Because I was thinking about the wording they used when I asked that question, right?
Right.
And what they said was the next batch of trucks they had coming in would have it on it. I don't recall them saying moving forward from this point on, they'll have it. And there's a difference there.
Yes.
Oh, let's see. Oh, Matt's got some information. Let's see. So I spoke with the lease people recently. If your truck has over 400,000, they mainly look at the maintenance on the truck to be sure it has been getting taken care of. Oh, that's to convert it to MRP. But there was a thing, Matt, where some people were actually saying that if you start an MRP, let's say at 350,000 miles, that they would no longer honor the MRP side of it once it hit past 500,000. So we need to get clarification there. He said, I have 450K on mine now, and in 5 months, my lease will be up, and they would allow mine on the MRP because it has been getting its usual maintenance. So I need to see a contract. Let's just be real. We need to see black and white. Matt, you've seen it before, just as we have. Somebody says something and everybody takes it as the word of God himself. And when we say, well, so-and-so said this, they're like, yeah, but what's your contract say, bro? Because it says the opposite.
Right.
And that's what they decide they're going with that day. And it could change the next day. In fact, it could change an hour later.
I just had a conversation on Swift drivers because, our favorite wannabe entrepreneur is at it again. Asking about Holland's freight outside of Swift. And dude, people thought that all you had to do was cover up the Swift name and go.
Right.
I'm like, that's not what your contract says. Read your contract. And I'm going to call it out again. Of course, Ramon is out there telling people, bad information.
Is it Ramona or Margaret?
It was Ramona.
Oh, okay.
The recruiters don't. So, and this isn't a Swift problem. This is a recruiter problem. Recruiters don't necessarily know the ins and outs of an ICOA. They know the equipment lease because they're there to sell trucks.
Right.
But the ICOA is something totally different, guys. So I am telling, they weren't really arguing with me. They were legitimately asking questions. So that was cool. Right. But I told him, unless you're getting an answer from Becky in rapid response on trip leasing, you're probably not getting the real answer. Wouldn't you say that's fair, Charlie? Because she's the one that processes that paperwork. And I think it's interesting that people don't understand their own business enough to understand that, no, you can't just go out there and run a Class 8 truck for hire with no authority on it.
Right.
You have to have an operating authority from the government to run freight. So if you're leased to like Swift, or Panther's got a trip lease in their ICOA as well. You have to have an authority that you're running under. But because a lot of it has to do with insurance, Charlie.
Right.
Auto liability, cargo, those things are done by the carrier, not the owner operator. So let's say you're leased to Swift and you decide to go haul furniture for your buddy on the weekend. Well, Swift doesn't want the liability of you hauling someone else's freight.
Right.
So you're going to have to run under your buddy's authority if he's got one to do that. You have to have an operating authority you need someone's authority that's got insurances. And we know several people, Charlie, that are really successful at the trip leasing.
Oh yeah.
They're really killing it, but they've done it right. They've went out and found themselves a deal outside of Swift, and really all Swift cares about in the end is getting their money, right? So IEL anyway. Brett Stewart, the director of the division, he wants us hauling Swift freight, obviously.
Right.
But with the way things have been, that's why these guys have gone out and found their own deals out there. They don't necessarily want to port their truck out, which is where you completely leave Swift. They want to keep the door open, hoping that things turn around, right? But if you find a deal out there where a guy's going to pay you twice what you make at Swift gross to run for them for a short amount of time, as long as you can run under their authority and do the paperwork with Swift to do that, we have some people that are really killing it doing that. And then we have other people that lost their trucks. Let's talk about that side real quick.
Right.
Because here's what happens when you're leasing a truck from like IEL or whatever leasing agent that you have to make those weekly payments. Well, you went out there because this guy offered you $3 a mile, but you didn't read the contract, so you didn't know that you were on net 90 pay.
Right. Meaning they're not paying you for 90 days.
So how are you making those weekly lease payments under those circumstances? You would need to factor that, right? But you didn't read your contract, so you didn't know that. So before you know it, IEL is repossessing your truck.
Right.
And that happened to what, like 80% of the people that went out to trip lease last year?
A bunch of them, yeah.
Yeah. And it was simply not paying attention to the contracts. So be careful. You could do it. Nothing's stopping you, but be careful. Make sure you're crossing all your T's and dotting all your I's if you're going to go do that.
Right. Sean Furman, covering the name and loading the wagon seems like bad advice. Absolutely bad advice. Yes.
Yep.
Because if you're doing it that simply, it's a problem. You are not protected. No one's protected. Everyone's open to liability and litigation and just good Lord, so many things. It's ridiculous. Hey, so Don's got some stuff. I started here, Jeff.
Okay.
He said, oh, by the way, he'll give the information on where he got his loan for his truck. He said they will finance the truck for Swift guys that want to pay off their lease, but they require that you have an LLC for at least 2 years and a business account that shows your pay, and it's going to be a business loan for the truck, not the normal loan. So the loan will be underneath your LLC. He thinks, and I'm probably going to agree with him here, that it's probably better than trying to roll it over into an MRP. But again, you need a business entity to do business with the place that he's talking about, not
Right.
just a sole prop.
Well,
Right?
and just to clarify too, you can have an LLC and still be a sole prop. You don't have
Right.
to be an S corp, but you do need to have the corporate umbrella over you to do deals like this.
Right.
So years and years, Charlie, I just ran solopreneur.
Oh yeah, me too.
You learn a little bit more, and you find out that although an LLC doesn't protect you as well as the late night commercials tell you they do,
Right.
there are reasons to have an LLC. Even if you don't want to do the S corp thing, have an LLC because it sets you up for things down the road.
Right. Is it required? Is it absolutely necessary? No.
No, but I think it sets you up for bigger, better things.
Right. But I just wanted to make that clarification because there's a lot of people who are out there. They're setting up LLCs, but they're setting them up for that wrong reason, thinking, oh, it's going to protect me for all of this stuff. I can't be sued. If I go bankrupt, no one's coming after me.
Mm-hmm.
They're still coming after you. You're the sole owner of that LLC.
Right.
You're the one guaranteeing that LLC's financial responsibilities, everything. Yeah. So don't think that that's what it is. So if you're like, oh, well, I'm going to get an LLC and it's going to save my butt. It will from some, but not from all things. So I just want to be real clear about that because it's not this big shield that some people think that it is on all and every matter. All right. I'll shut up about that one.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Did I miss anything?
Don's talking about his APU. Yeah, so get back to me on that, Don, the first time you have to replace something on that APU. What are you saying? I've got a carrier on mine, and I've only had the truck for about a year. And there's been at least one repair that cost $2,000.
Whew.
Well, it could have been worse. It could have been $4,000, but they ended up not having to do that part. But the maintenance on them, I still think that they're a good idea simply because it reduces wear and tear on the engine itself.
Right.
So you're going to lower your maintenance costs on the engine as a result. You are going to get better fuel mileage. That is true. But when you do the entire what an APU costs you, I think it's more of a wash than people think over, say, a 4-year period of time.
But with that being said, it is going to prolong the life of your engine in theory. Mm-hmm. Right? It may cost you the same amount in basic maintenance, I think, and minor repairs, but maybe save your truck from major repairs, postponing them longer down the life of the truck because you don't have the idle time. So I think that's a possibility. Exactly, Sean. Squirrel. So Don said he found that the business loan is very different from the normal loan. They don't really care about your credit score. It's not a big deal to them. We actually did a podcast on this. It's pretty good on business credit. If you go to podwheels.com and look up the Road Warrior Entrepreneurs podcast, you will actually be able to find one in that list there where we actually talked about business credit versus personal credit and how they look at it differently and what criteria they are looking at and what the overall decision-making process is when they do that. So I think if you haven't heard that, I think it's a pretty good episode. We actually did that with Colton Lawrence. I want to say middle of last year, maybe towards the end of last year. No, probably middle of last year. I'm not sure. I can't remember. Let's be real. Let's see. Greg Spears, what do you got? Look, I'm just going to click them as they come. Harbor Freight, 5,000 watt generator with remote and a 12K Mr. Cool mini split, total cost $2,200. Air conditioning, heating, and dehumidifier. There you go. That's an option. I mean, I like Harbor Freight. I do. On things where I have to use them all the time, I tend to shy away more from Harbor Freight and go for some of the bigger names. I know some people say the warranties are great. Anytime I've tried to get warranty stuff done, it seems to always be right at the end of the warranty when I need it. And the warranty has just expired.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. So yeah, I mean, nothing wrong with the idea.
Yeah, I just prefer to have a system that's specifically designed for the truck, wired to in the truck, I like having HVAC that is proper HVAC and not something hanging out my window.
Right.
All those things. So that's just my 2 cents on that one. I see people use the generators though. They seem to work just fine.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Oh, there was something else I wanted to talk about, and I can't remember what it is. I'm like all scrolled out in my brain. It's pretty awesome. Let's scroll back through chat because I know there was something that I wanted to say, and I can't remember what the hell it was. Fuel did go up this week. That's good. I know it sounds terrible, but it did. Let's see.
Chris,
3.02 last week. We're at 3.715 this week.
we have access to numbers for the new Volvo battery APU. As soon as we have some contractors that have those, we will absolutely have numbers on those. I'm interested in that as well.
Yeah, no. So Tim Ransom, it's very hard to get a loan on a truck right now. Too many drivers are upside down on their loan, and banks having trouble with their owners making on-time payments. That's definitely a thing.
Absolutely a
Credit
thing.
is very expensive right now as a whole in the general loan market. It's a thing. It's something to factor. So yeah, I don't know. I'd have to get deeper into that, Greg. Matt said he's going to send us a copy of the new spreadsheet. Cool. I know, Craig, you need to get one of those for the daggone community so we can get some numbers. And we're really hoping Craig's going to get one. I believe he's going to get one. I think when they come in for them that he's going to get one. That's what I think. And then we're going to have some good solid numbers because that dude knows that truck. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Matt said he's still waiting to hear for sure. Yeah, 11 cents on the national fuel price average. And that goes along with what I saw in my lane, like for the places that I hit. I saw a 10-cent jump this week that kind of hurt my feelings a little bit. Not going to lie. It's the highest I've seen it out in my lane for a long time.
330. I got in to Houston on Wednesday. Was it Wednesday? Yeah, I think it was Wednesday. And then I went to visit my folks for the rest of the week. And I told you yesterday, Charlie, I should have just filled up when I got here because it jumped 10 cents a gallon between then and now.
Right. Yeah, my average last week was $3.39 is what I actually paid for fuel last week. Look, I only worked 2 days. I had 2 runs this week. It was whatever.
Dismal.
It just, I had one of those long funky loads with that do this back and forth stuff. So it screwed me up for Sunday night, which is fine, whatever. I just came home early Monday morning, was done with it and relaxed. It was actually kind of nice, to be honest. I had a day where it was like not stressful for some reason.
That's weird.
Right? I know. Like, and everybody thought I was working. Right? So I didn't get a ton of calls on Monday. It was great. Yeah, that I the week prior was 329. The week prior to that was 319. All same fuel stop at a QT that I run for on a pretty regular route. So 3 weeks in a row they jumped 10 cents. Looking at the last 3 weeks of the national average, 3 weeks ago they were 356. 2 weeks ago they jumped 4 cents to 360, and then this week they went up 11. So, you know, I've had a 30-cent hike. Yeah, from 19 to 29. I've had a 20-cent hike in the last 3 weeks, and this is what, 11 and 4, so 15 cents on the national average. So probably right. Jeff, how about something about the best year ever? Do you want to talk about that or no?
Yeah. So for those of you guys that are in our community group, the paid community, we promised you a special event with Josh Hall, which is the best year ever, which is a big training event that we're going to do. And we have finally nailed him down on a date to do that. And we're going to be doing it on Saturday, February the 1st.
That's a 3-hour commitment, guys.
It's a 3-hour commitment of time. And again, this is a high ticket training. So for your $47 a month or whatever you're paying, if you got in on the promotion stuff, you're paying less, but it's $47 a month. You get this training. It's normally a $2,000 training. That's what these guys usually charge for this stuff. So he's going to do that for us. I don't know. We didn't really strong arm him into it. He actually said, "Hey, I'd like to do this for your guys."
Right.
So that's kind of cool that he would do this.
We're gonna have a sign up page for it in the private community.
Hold off, dude.
And you'll be able to schedule your spot there. It's not going to cost anything extra if you're already in the community. So there you go.
Right. And if you're not, sign up and get your spot. As soon as he gives us the actual calendar link to it, we'll put that up in the community in school, and you can go and reserve your spot so that you get all the notifications and anything extra that he's going to throw in there between
so that
now and
we don't
then.
have to remind you, Sean.
That's right. That's right. You'll get a notification on your phone if you actually sign up for it. But the other thing, you register for it and you'll get the notifications on where to find the replays and all that stuff.
Right.
Replays will be available anyway, but you won't have to hunt for it if you register. So we should have the registration page up. What did he say, in the next couple of days?
Yeah. And it'll be Saturday, February 1st at noon Eastern time. So adjust for your local time zone.
Yep. And again, it's a 3-hour deal. It's the training and the breakout sessions and the little breaks to do the exercises, all that stuff that this type of virtual conference entails. If you guys haven't been to something like this before, they're usually pretty motivational. How much you get out of it depends completely on how much action you take during and after the conference. It's like anything else, all the stuff we talk about. One of my taglines has become, with no action, there is no traction. That's absolutely true. Everything Charlie and I have done the last couple of years, we can track our performance on this stuff. And man, if we get excited about something, we absolutely see that it'll be of benefit to us and others. And then we don't take any action, and then nothing happens. And then after a while, you forget about it. And then you come back and say, if I just done that thing a year ago, I'd be this much further ahead. So take advantage of the training. If you're not part of the community yet, go and sign up. Again, it's $47 a month for that. And then you get Josh's training coming up here in 2 weeks, and then our monthly trainings that we do via Zoom. The reason we didn't do one this month was because we were working with Josh to get the best year ever stuff going, because then I'm going to build on that for the rest of the year. I think we did a pretty good run up to it, Charlie, with getting people on board with journaling and the exercises with that, and the figuring out what your 10-year vision is. And now Josh is going to do his best year ever to get us going on the year. And then we're going to build on that for the rest of the year on the monthly trainings. It's almost like we did it on purpose, Charlie.
Right. Hey, Matt, you can use that email address there, man. That'll just be easy. I'm trying to consolidate things like that. I also just built a little ticker across the bottom. It says if you got a contact you'd like to send us to look over, or you got something else you need to send us, send it to this email address, charliemayan.cc@gmail.com. and that will be shared with myself and Jeff. So thank you for doing stuff like that. But yeah, so use that email address if you need to, send us a file or contract, something like that. That's just an easier way for me to kind of keep things separated and sorted and hopefully not missing things. If y'all don't mind, if that's what you'd like to do, then great. We would greatly appreciate it. But look, now I saved it, Jeff. I'm smart.
Okay.
I got a banner for it now, so I don't have to type it every week, which I've been doing the last few weeks.
Do you have a thing for our school thing so that if people want to sign up, they can do that?
No. Dang it.
Okay. Hold on.
There you go.
Copy. You can tell I'm doing stuff that has the. I'm
Are
ignoring you
building it as a
because
banner?
no,
Why not?
because you can do that because you're handier at that than I am. But there's the link. I got the link for you, man. All you have to do is make a banner out of it now.
Yeah, but I can't copy that link.
It's not a clicking.
Wait, maybe I can do it over here. Wait. Let me go to YouTube's. Open link in new tab.
Because that's quite the link if it's not a hyperlink, right?
Well, in the YouTubes, it doesn't show up in our StreamYard stuff the right way. You can't pull it out of StreamYard.
Oh, okay.
But the people watching on YouTube actually have a link in the chat that is clickable.
Oh, okay.
Doing it that way, it's fine. Let me see if I can make this work. I have no idea where that just went. That was awesome. I
Yay.
have it open somewhere, but I don't know where it is.
Yeah, Don, we haven't heard from Bitcoin in a while, have we, Charlie?
No, it's been a minute. He's been catching replays. Let's see. I think I can do this.
Okay.
Let's see if this
We
works.
have the technology. We can rebuild him.
Right. Control C. All right, you talk for a minute. I'm gonna try and build
So
a banner.
did you hear about that? They're thinking about redoing the $6 million man
That
as
could
a
be
movie. But it's going to be the $6 trillion man, of course, because times have changed. But I just think it'd be an interesting throwback, you know. Drug runner, you're booing us for no reason, but okay. But yeah, so again, the training that we're doing for January, February is going to be Josh's training. And those of you that are in school, I already did a post on it, so you can check that out. And then we'll have the Calendarly link on there so you can register ahead of time. And it's not our training, so I don't know exactly all of the resources he's going to throw in there. But I'm thinking there'll at least be some worksheets, PDFs, some bonus materials. Usually those guys throw some things in. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too, actually. So look, Jeff, I made another banner. Watch out, bro. I'm on fire. That'll be available on the right side of your screen, Jeff, under banners. Just saying.
Okay.
You may have to scroll. There's quite a
Sweet.
few there. On mine, it's the top two, the last two I just made, but whatever.
Right. A couple other things to look for with Josh, with the relationship we built with Josh. And for those of you that are kind of new, we actually hired Josh as our personal coach. Here about a year ago, was it, Charlie?
Yeah.
And he helped us learn how to do what we're trying to do a little bit better. That's why you hire a coach. And we're going to actually be producing a separate podcast away from our Road Warrior Entrepreneurs podcast with Josh here in the coming months. So that's another thing you can look forward to. You know, everything we're doing here on this channel is all trucking specific, trucking related. But the interesting thing about business, Charlie, is business.
Right.
Right. Entrepreneurship is entrepreneurship. Most of the stuff we talk about has such a broader scope. And if you've looked at what I personally have been posting a lot about lately is more of the broad stuff. Um, and there's a few of our members that I'm really encouraging on this. Become fleet owners, get to that next level. Now, that's not for everybody, obviously, Charlie, right?
Right.
Not everybody has that desire. But if you do, there is a framework, there is best practices, and we will absolutely help you implement those into your own vision to increase the level of success that you're having in the industry. And the interesting thing about that, all the studying we've done over the years is now, like we've said before, Charlie, a lot of times people ask us questions and we forgot that we had that same question 20 years ago.
Right.
It's you think about it, it's like, oh yeah, I remember when I had that question too. And you answer the question for the dude, right? Well, what does that do? That there's this gap in knowledge that we fell into head first. We would rather not have you fall into that pothole. So that's what it's all about. Mark passes through Lee Major's birthplace frequently, Middlesboro, Kentucky.
Nice.
What's her name? The Bionic Woman. What was her name?
Oh God.
Interestingly enough, she used Jamie Summers. Yeah. She used to live in Oak Ridge, Oregon, which is where my mom is from.
Nice.
And my grandparents still live there. And so I actually was fishing with the Bionic Woman when I was like 9 or 10 years old. She was out there on the river fishing. Lindsay Wagner, that's right. Jamie Summers was the name of the Bionic Woman.
Right.
The character. Yeah, she was really nice, dude. I was like looking at her and, is that the Bionic Woman? All that stuff. And she came over and said hi, and we fished together for a little bit. Just, regular person.
I'm looking at Matt's spreadsheet. Hang on. Sorry about that. Trying to find how to work it and what information I should put out there and not put out there, right?
So is it wrong of me? So I do have a long sleeve shirt on, Charlie, but I'm watching these dudes out here doing their pre-trips in full parkas and snowsuits.
That would be me, right?
I'm just entertained by that.
I'm in my hoodie in my house. I'm just saying.
Oh my goodness.
In the house, I'm in a hoodie. So Matt sent me a spreadsheet that he built. It's actually filled out. I'm going to keep proprietary Swift trip numbers off the screen just because.
Fair enough.
He's apparently okay with me sharing. Yeah, he's okay with me sharing the numbers. So I'm going to pull up his week 5 here real quick and share this screen. Let's see. I'm in protected mode, so I won't overwrite anything. Share screen.
Sean, I would be interested to know how that conversation even came about and why you were told not to do DOD, because it seems to me like those are the most lucrative contracts over here at Panther. It might have something to do. I had a conversation with Colton a couple of weeks ago. I know that the deal they got for you was to increase the consistency and your ability to go home. The DOD might be something like what you ran into before, that if you go home for too long, you lose it, and they don't want to do that. That could be part of it. But I'd have to know more about how that conversation went.
How much time we got? Hey, Matt, are you parked by any chance?
Like 14 minutes.
I'm going to send you a link.
Chris, what I'm going to say is on that, the replay will be available. I would like to see you register anyway so that you get all the updates directly from Josh. Because again, it's a Josh training. It's not a me training. So it's a little bit different. And I think it's going to be easier to find those replays and things if you're registered.
Correct.
Wimpy, you're like 10 minutes late, dude.
Yeah.
You were doing so well last week and this week, and now this. I don't know. I'm shaking my head.
You know what?
Now.
He probably clicked over another channel, came back, something like that.
Oh, right. They do that, don't they?
Yep.
Those guys are doing that all the time.
I'm going to reply to this email, Matt.
Now, just so you don't think I'm flaking out, Chris, we don't have the registration link yet. We're waiting for Josh to get that to us probably the next day or two. But once it hits, we'll put it up there. And go ahead and register, because then you're going to get updates directly from Josh himself instead of, going through the telephone game, right? So.
Did you see Zuckerberg checking out the merchandise? I did. I know what he's talking about. Dude, you
I
should have
don't
seen
know
Zuckerberg
about that.
checking things out, man.
Really?
Coming out of some of those inaugural events.
Mm.
Oh, okay. I'm going to tell on
Are
myself.
Are we talking about Pervin?
Yeah, it sure looked like it. I'm going to tell on myself a little bit here. I have a lot of people in my Facebook, right? Of all walks of life, political backgrounds, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I had a minor problem, and it didn't matter who won the election. I had a problem, people saying, don't watch the inauguration because it's him. So typically I try to actually watch the inauguration, the swearing in ceremony, because I think it's fascinating. I think it's historic, and I think it's whatever, right? I spent the entire day with my TV on and watching every event that ran from noon.
I did not do that
until like 6 o'clock that night. I did, because so many people said, don't do it. I know that.
So here's from my end of that. Charlie was texting me, did you see what Trump just said? And I'm like, no, man, I'm watching Hell's Kitchen.
Yeah. Right.
And he would say, Trump said this. And I'm like, yeah, well, it's Trump. What do you want? What do you want? He says weird, crazy stuff that I don't think should matter at all. Right. So,
hey, Matt,
what's up?
Look, we got about 10 minutes, man.
Real quick, Chris. So the dirty secret about Jeff, and Matt can tell you this, I am not the most tidy person out on the road. I don't do science experiments, but my truck is not showroom ready. So here's what I'll do. Next time I'm home, when I do my deep clean of the truck and it looks all nice again, I will shoot some video and get that out. If that's, he asks me about this every week, Charlie. He wants to see my cabinets and all that stuff. But when it looks presentable, I usually do a deep clean the second day I'm home when I'm home. They get it all nice and spiffy. And I will do that. But I don't know, Charlie. You've seen the inside of my trucks too. I am not tidy out here. No science experiments. It's not gross or anything. It's just that I tend to not put things away right away.
Right.
And then I end up having to drive. And then so as a result, things fall off of things and they're not secured right, all that stuff. So, and then I just say, screw it. It's cluttered and I'm good with that.
Matt, at the bottom of your screen, do you have some buttons down there like mute, stop camera, settings, present?
Yep.
Hit up present. Yep. Go for that one.
All right.
And share your Excel file. You should be mindful to keep the trip numbers off the screen, by the way, if you can. Just saying.
That's what I just deleted them. And
what's RSBN? I don't know what that is. Huh.
Right Side Broadcasting Network.
Okay.
There you go.
All right, I guess I'm sharing my screen now, right?
No.
I don't see it popping up.
Mm.
Go to present. There's a couple steps you have to take, Matt. So when you go to present, it's going to ask you if you want to share a whole screen or just a window.
Yeah, an entire screen.
And then you'll have to, there you go. Then you'll have to pick there you go.
Okay,
Get the
so
porn
now,
off there, bro. Oh.
yeah, okay.
We'll
So
put
now
up
it's on.
for you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so if you're looking at the spreadsheet now, I'm assuming.
Yep.
So yeah, basically, trip numbers are blanked out, but you would go through and just fill out your traditional trip number, your trip information, empty miles, loaded miles. I have it programmed in to where it will automatically incorporate your empty mile rate with the contract because it's 85 cents. Depending on your contract, if you're dry or reefer or whatever, I've got the dry rate included on your chart for your mileage that you just plug in to the loaded mile rate. It'll automatically figure out your mileage pay for you. It automatically incorporates whether or not what your fuel surcharge for the week is, and shows you what that pay will be. If it's eligible for West Coast, it's true or false. So say if I change this to true, you'll see it actually tabulates what I would get paid with a West Coast fuel surcharge and increase things. And now down at the bottom in the lower part, it'll show you everything. I even gave you a calculator on your estimated fuel for the load, depending on your truck's fuel mileage. You know, I kept mine at 7.5 because it's wintertime. It's been getting cold and I've been idling a lot longer too. But down at the bottom, it'll show you your loaded, your empty total, what your total payout's going to be for your mileage, what your total payout's going to be on the fuel surcharge, and then your total revenue for the week, total expenses, and what you can expect to be paid as the driver. As you go down, okay, so say you need an PO from your driver leader, you're getting any additional pay or layover or what is that, detention, you can add that in here for refunds additional. And then I broke down the expense part. Fixed expenses like your insurance, things like that that you're paying. Fuel purchases, I included gallons pumped, price per gallon, to try and help you tabulate how much fuel you actually bought, how much you bought it at, to help you track that. Maintenance expenses, so like this week I had my work order hit for my drive tires that I had to replace because somebody decided to drill my tires up there in Wisconsin.
Oh, you got hit with that, did you?
Yep. And of course your miscellaneous expenses. If you got excess mileage, what your previous balance settlement was, anything you got going on, like your IFTA tax. Mine, I got money back from IFTA this week or this last month, and it'll tabulate your total expenses for the week, your actual fuel cost. And if you do this every week, when you go to the month, it'll show you for the month, this is what your revenue was, your total expenses, what you were paid as the owner for the month, how many miles you got. When you actually put in the gallons, it'll show you your gallons, maintenance, and your operating cost per mile to help you figure out how you're actually doing. Now, if there's anything else we want to add, or if anybody can think of something else that would like to be added, I don't mind the feedback to help you guys do better with watching your numbers every week. But yeah, that's the gist of the spreadsheet. Pretty easy. When it comes to your fuel surcharge rate, I did that calculator also. Just check out the website, put in the fuel cost. It'll tell you the difference between the two. And then just go to if you're a Swift operator, refer to your contract to get those numbers. Placing them in these two boxes will adjust it on the spreadsheet.
All right.
Hey, Matt, I'm going to bust your testicles for a second.
Go ahead.
Let me take this down just because. All right. I'm looking at your insurance costs, sir.
Uh-huh.
You're about to end a lease, so your truck value is far less than mine.
Mm-hmm.
On your FISDAM, I just want to throw this out there. You are just about $200 more per month on your FISDAM than what I'm paying for my 23.
Mm-hmm.
And your OCAC is $20 more per month than what I'm paying for my OCAC, and it's the same coverage, sir. Just throwing that out there. I love you. You know,
I love you too. But you know, I was a mentor too. That was the only reason I haven't switched.
I know. I'm just throwing it out there.
But you're no longer a mentor, so let's save that money.
Oh yeah. And that little part, if you want to adjust that for whatever you put into your maintenance account, say you put 10 cents, you can see how maintenance reserve adjusts. But I keep 20 cents going into it for every. Things will automatically tabulate with you.
Nice. It looks good too, man.
So one question that we had earlier from Wimpy that we didn't even touch was, how is this weather hitting our fuel mileage? So with colder weather, the air becomes more dense, so there's a little more air resistance, so that's a factor. But more than that, Matt, you drive up north as well, don't you? So you're getting hit with that winter blend fuel.
Yep.
So that's the big factor there, is that winter blend fuel, Wimpy, really hits us for at least a half a mile per gallon in my experience driving up on the 80.
Yeah.
When I get fuel down here in Texas, down here in Texas, that's not so heavy on the kerosene, I get better fuel mileage. But I drive up north quite a bit, so I absolutely take that hit. But that's the main thing, is that winter blend fuel. The further north you go, the more kerosene they put in it to keep it from gelling up. So it's a lower quality ignition, right? And that affects our fuel mileage quite a bit.
Chris said he definitely wants that spreadsheet, Matt. Good job on that, by the way. It looks good. I like it. Let's see. Yeah, Charlie turns into a pumpkin 7. You know what's funny about that, Wimpy, is I've literally been at the computer in meetings since like 10 a.m. this morning.
Yeah, we had a lot of meetings today.
It was ridiculous.
Are we able to announce, Charlie, that you were waiting on? Or are we waiting for a contract for that?
We go ahead, go for it. I think we're fine.
So we were taught, one of the meetings we had today was with Tony Dennis at Seabright. And for the second year in a row, folks, good job. We are remaining steady on the rate. No rate increase. We did fall short of a decrease again, but we're not getting an increase this year. So good job on that. Some of it is Tony being Tony and putting his foot down with the actual underwriters and saying, hey, but you know, the thing is with a program like this, and we have to be careful with the language we use because there's legal things with an insurance program like this. It's very much like a group thing like you're used to with health insurance. So the risk gets spread across everybody in the program. So the loss rates, like, you know, it gets balanced out. The more people we have in it, the better the rates end up being, because what the insurance carriers are looking at is what the total loss for the year is versus the profits for them. So the more people we have in it, the more steady our rates are. That's
Right.
why you haven't seen, the 30% increase like you did with Swift 2 years ago,
Right.
because we're able to spread it around. And that really does set us apart from other places like OIDA. When you get insurance from them, it's an individual rate. You're not part of a group. A lot of people don't realize that.
And they have no gap coverage. Just saying.
I was just going to go over that too. The other part of the conversation with Tony was how crazy the used truck market is right now. It's basically on a downward spiral. So the gap between the actual value of your truck, Charlie, and what you owe on that truck is widening.
Right.
And we are aware of at least one case where someone didn't have gap, totaled their truck, and now they're on the hook for $45,000
Right.
because their insurance only covered book value of the truck, not what they owed on the truck. So a Seabright, they have gap coverage, just like you're used to with your cars, right? That fills the gap between what you owe and what the truck is worth at the time of a total
Right.
loss. I don't know about you, Charlie, but that's worth it right there.
Well,
I can't imagine being on the hook for 45 grand after totaling a truck out.
and one of the things I heard recently was if you don't have a gap coverage policy, I believe IEL is going to stop accepting those insurance policies because they've been getting burnt over the last several months because of that. I haven't seen that in writing. Again, it's something we're waiting for a contractual change.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it doesn't even require the contractual change, to be honest, because IEL, aka Swift, in this instance, has the final authority to approve or disapprove the insurance that you're bringing on, and that is contractual. You have to get it approved through them.
Right.
They have to say, okay, we'll accept the insurance from that company, whatever company it is. And so
believe me, that's a process because it took us 3 months of negotiations back and forth to come up with this program. Our people would send a document to Swift. It would be like, you're almost there, but we need this. Okay, let's do it again.
And you know what's crazy about that though? Is they made us jump through those hoops to build this thing, and they just blanket took OIDA.
Which is weird because they don't usually get along.
Right. But because, there was this push for outside insurance, they're like, okay. And they didn't want to fight with OIDA. So they just accepted it thinking, oh, it's going to be fine. It'll be, like Contractors Corner and Seabright. And what happened? They've been getting their wallet picked from the beginning. I'm trying to not use horrible words.
Well, what it is
struggling.
So you have that gap, and the question is who's responsible for it. Swift accepted the insurance without gap. I could argue it either way, really.
Yeah.
But when you're leasing a truck like we do, we don't own the truck until we pay it off, right? Once you pay it off, sure.
Right.
But it's their truck until that point. So it's kind of a weird, I'm sure there's legal precedent for whatever stuff. And we're not lawyers, so I don't know what that would be. But I do know that we've seen the argument, who's responsible for that $45,000 when there's not gap coverage. And so I think IEL is going back to looking at that and making sure that they're not stuck holding the bag.
Right. Sorry, I was playing with layouts.
Yeah, I saw that. Thanks for helping my headache out there, Charlie.
You're welcome, bro. You're welcome. This one's terrible. Look.
I don't like it.
I don't want to be in the middle.
Hey now.
We can
a little Matt sandwich.
Oh my God, I'm a little Matt sandwich. Oh,
Hey, now.
we got that beautiful island meat between two pieces of white bread. Now we've gone off the rails. We're going to call this thing a wrap, sir.
So Matt, since you're here and you're one of our original founding members, what do you have for us to send us off with?
Just everybody stay safe out here. You know, it's the winter time. Make smart decisions, and I know we need to roll to make money, but there's no load worth your life. You know, you want to go home to the family, so just be out here, be safe, make smart decisions.
All right, you know what I'm going to say, Charlie?
Make it happen.
With no action, there is no traction. Keep the rubber side down. Be safe.
Great words of wisdom by Jeff Morton, that guy. Did you notice the title underneath your name, Matt?
Yeah, I saw that.
Like that?
Spreadsheet
Spreadsheet
Matt.
Matt. So I don't know how many people notice this. I have this tendency when I capitalize the first letter of a word, I have a slow release on my right pinky, which is my shift key. So a lot of times I end up with the first two letters capitalized, and it's hilarious. And people are like, bro, what is wrong with you? You're broken. Anyhow, so that's what happened there. Anyhow, I'm going to go out on, and as I usually do. You guys, thank you once again for joining us. Matt, thanks for popping in and sharing that spreadsheet.
Not a problem.
If you'd like, we can put that up in the group, or if you want, or whatever, or you can individuals, whatever, however you want to do it.
Yeah, I'll post it up on the contractor corner group page, and if y'all want to put it up on the school page, that's fine too.
Right on.
Sean says he wants a spreadsheet.
Who?
There'd have to be
Sean?
some modification. Drug runner, Sean.
Yeah, Sean.
Yeah,
Let me work with Matt on a spreadsheet for us because our pay is wonky.
Are y'all
That
on like
spreadsheet,
a percentage or something?
They're on
that spreadsheet's not going to work for us. I can tell you that right now.
Okay.
But I am working on something for Panther guys that are specifically going through ES.
Good night, Jim. Thank you, buddy. But like always, you guys, thank you for joining us and taking the time to spend with us during your day. Some of you are shut down just because of the weather, so why not hang out? But seriously, look after each other. There's no one out here looking after us but us. We'll see you right here next week, Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern time, like you will see us every week, one way or another, come hell or high water. Someone's going to be around here. And keep an eye out for some new stuff coming out that Jeff and I are both going to be working on over the next time period. Not going to put it
3 months.
We're excited about that stuff. Reach out to Matt Nissen there because he's got that spreadsheet. If you're a Swift guy, that thing's already built for you. You can send him an email right there, mlnissen@aol.com, and he'll send it out to you. Just let him know that you got it. You found out about it here and what you're after.
If you're on the Facebook group, tag me, send me a message, whatever.
There you go. And with that, you guys, we'll see you guys next week. Everybody be safe. Take care of yourselves and look after each other. Be safe. Hey, don't be afraid to shut down. You are the captain of your ship. Do that when you need to. All joking aside, look, I may bust a couple people's backsides over it because it's fun, but I'm not being real about it. You know what I mean? None of this freight is worth hurting yourself or anyone else. So let's just be